minute, don't know. Get a minute of your time. Get a minute of your. Let it. I sure gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its side. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye. And you said when no one's to be found, what keeps you eased out, what takes you off your mind.
Yes, you want this, I want this, everybody in this, we should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Take the time to recognize it.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. Hey, how you doing?
I don't even know where to go from there.
You do your intro. You like, hey, how you doing, everybody? And you do it. Why are we wearing the same thing?
I know, we just came. Okay, so let's begin. Welcome to our podcast, From Vision to Success. We're excited to be here with you. We're excited to share our insights, things that we're going through, and just to have you be part of our lives. So thank you for joining. So today I walked in and realized that both him and I are matchy-matchy. So we dress alike a lot.
I told her that this needs to stop. This, honestly,
It's
and
not
I
exactly
wore this.
the same.
I've never seen you wear a black hoodie. I've never seen you wear a black hoodie.
I always wear a black hoodie. I've worn it to this podcast multiple times.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
We can go back on the.
Yeah,
on
let's go back.
Yeah, we will, because I have worn this exact same podcast.
Maybe because after I bought it, I bought one, and then you had to go out and buy one as well. But
Listen,
there's
we've
no
been
way.
matching for like years now.
This needs to stop.
I know.
It's actually starting to get frustrated because, like, I don't care what I wear. It can be like a purple dress with pink polka dots. She will wear a purple dress with pink
Will
polka
be
dots.
somehow complimenting each other's color palette, or like
I don't like it.
we went on the double date with Tegan and Mike, and him and I were pretty much dressed the same, aside from the pants. But when I saw you and you were wearing your black top, I was like, oh, dang it, I don't want to take my jacket because this is literally
why?
you. Yeah, that's why I kept my jacket for majority of the time, because I'm like, you and I look the same.
She literally, and I was trying to figure out, like,
I got there first, though. In all honesty, I got there first. So if anybody wore it first, it was me.
and you
But
were
then
dressed
should've-
nice, and she was dressed really nice, like to the T. And then I'm like, why does she have her jacket like?
Well, because you and I were like twinning again.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So how was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. What?
We had our first parent-teacher council.
Oh my gosh, how did it go?
It went really, really good.
So parent-teacher council for like, I don't think we've ever talked about it previously in the podcast. What it is.
Yeah.
I want to keep calling you Mike. I don't know why. The words that are coming out of my mouth are about to say Mike.
Because you just fought with Mike. That's why.
No, I didn't fight with Mike. I fought with I didn't fight with my son. Anyway, we had a bit of a kerfuffle there, but Miguel and I, we serve in our church in youth.
Yeah.
And it was last year. We had a focus on strengthening the parents, empowering the parents, and we had a parent council, meaning we all got together. We reviewed a talk, or
You did.
Yeah. So this is for in my unit, in my ward. We reviewed it. It was really good. A lot of parents felt connected, and you just had your first one that you said.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you know that there's an article on it on the Teacher Council for Parents?
Where on the
Online, Deseret News.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of research before just launching it, and I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to say I'm spending too much time, but I mean, there's got to be like a format. There's got to be something out there, right?
Yeah, especially I've been feeling the same way with gospel resources. I'm
Yeah.
like, sometimes we do the same thing, try to reinvent it. Why? The
Yeah.
resources are already there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I went down this rabbit hole and I kept like searching whatever, and a link came up with the Sunday School General Presidency.
Okay.
They discuss the format of what a teacher council for parents looks like.
Okay.
And it's what do you call it? They reference the general conference talk back in 2023 October.
Okay, so it was a recent one. I know the talk that you're talking about.
A gentleman, right?
Yeah.
Whatever his name is. I
Because
forget.
that he was the one who said like they can happen during church
Right.
time, right?
So that
Yeah.
same talk. So I sent that out as an email to everybody, and I also sent the article of what the first general presidency talks about.
Yeah.
And it's very clear. He says these are the three things that needs to get discussed.
Mhm.
And if it's somewhere down the article, it says if any of these one things get missed, you've missed the purpose of the whole council.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay,
it's
I'm gonna have
very-
to take a look at
Oh,
that.
it's phenomenal. And so I sent that as a resource to all the parents, and then we also invited the Sunday school teachers for the youth to be present as well.
Mhm.
So anybody that deals with the youth, they were there.
Okay.
And first thing is, the first principle is counsel together. So talk about what are some of the challenges.
Mhm.
Second is what are some of the resources, like what do you do in your own home?
Yeah.
And number three is invite everyone to use the Come Follow Me to help launch what number two is to help with number one.
Okay.
So number one is so how we did it is number one we talked about
The
what
challenges
are
the
some of
youth
the
are
challenges?
facing.
Yeah, exactly. And it was
Okay.
open discussion. It's not a lesson, and I think you knew that already.
Yeah.
So it's not a lesson and whatever. Normally Sunday school presidents they're supposed to lead.
Yeah.
Because if it was our first one, I led.
Mhm.
And I invited him to witness. So then moving forward, that he could lead it, right? So we just went around in a circle, and some of the stuff that these youth are facing, it's just ridiculous.
The youth were not there, right?
The
It was
youth-
just the parents.
It was just the parents, anybody who worked with the youth. So Young Ones presidency, teachers who work with the youth. Anyways, and so we just went around. I'm like, I don't want to hear personal problems. I mean, if you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
But just in your own personal experience, what are some challenges that youth are facing right now?
Okay.
Some of the stuff that was discussed.
Tell me
is
your
like
top three. The ones that made more of an impression.
the biggest one, that a 5-year-old brought a gun to school. Grade 5 brought a gun to school
Here?
in Brampton.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the one I was like, what the frick? Like, what is happening right
It's funny. Well, not funny because there is
now? Not one of our youth, but in the school.
in the school system.
In
Yeah.
the school system, one kid in grade 5 they think it's grade 5 because there's no way like a kindergarten would have done
Yeah.
that. So it was a K to 5 school.
It was a K to 5 because
Mm-hmm.
there's been an issue like that in Brampton as well, in a different school, which is a middle school, where
Mm.
one of the middle schoolers brought a gun to school. And this school is one of it's like a specialty school. So they have an arts program. And I know a teacher that teaches there. And she said one of the things is because the area around it is a little bit rough.
Yeah.
So like a kid from a middle school did end up doing that. Yeah.
And so normally a fake gun has that. So here's the thing is a letter was sent out. A letter was sent out to all the parents saying, just to let you know, FYI, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a real gun, apparently.
Oh, okay.
But hang on one second. It wasn't a real gun. Oh no. Reverse. Apparently a student brought a gun to school. Teacher was on top of it. And we're dealing with it. Parents, you're not allowed to talk about amongst yourselves.
You're not allowed to talk about it
Yeah,
amongst yourself?
you're not allowed to discuss this outside, like amongst each other.
Okay. They really cannot even enforce that, but okay.
They can't, but I guess what they were trying to do is just like chitter chatter, rumors, backlash, like who's this kid, who are the families,
Yeah.
making whatever. So I understand that part, but I mean, you're not allowed to, whatever. So one,
Or maybe it's like you're not allowed to ask us any more questions.
no, you're not. No, according to this person, you parents are not allowed to talk amongst yourselves about the incident.
Okay.
And so this parent in our congregation, I'm not comfortable with that. So she started asking questions like, yeah, we don't know anything. it's very hush hush. So she went to the principal and said, what the heck, what's going on? And they're like, oh, it was apparently was a fake gun,
Mhm.
but it's a replica gun that's supposed to look, it's like a prop gun. It's supposed to look like a real gun.
Okay.
So this kid pulled it out and pointed at another kid. And the teacher saw it and ran over and what the heck is happening? But the letter didn't even state it was a fake gun. Because it's under investigation and they want to make sure that it was a fake gun before putting out an actual statement. So that was I was just like, what is happening right now? And that's crazy. The second one was a kid in grade 6, 7 got invited to go into the bathroom to watch porn.
I feel like I've heard that happen multiple times.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard this in the radio where there was, because I mean, you have social, like if your kid has a phone
Yeah.
and you don't have parent controls or anything like on it, they, like literally the world, they can access the world,
I know,
right?
I know.
So I remember listening on the radio about this story about somehow that the kids, like they were playing a joke and they got connected into the school system's Bluetooth system.
Oh.
Yeah. And when they got connected to the Bluetooth system, they actually played porn and the whole school heard it.
Stop.
Yes. This was in grade school. Keep in mind, this happened in grade school. I was like, what? Right? I'm like, that's the thing. A phone, it's like a loaded gun, right?
Yeah,
it can do a lot of good.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you like, we need weapons in order to defend. Like, there's people that are trained that use these weapons for defense and to keep us protected, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it can do a lot of good, but it also could do a lot of damage and a lot of harm. So
I know. The other one was vandalism. So this is a K-5 school as well, and grades 3s and 4s are going into bathrooms and purposely just trashing the bathrooms and then just walking away.
yeah,
Just like, but again,
that's going on in my daughter's school right now. That's a middle school.
is it really as well?
Yeah, and this is like legit like nasty stuff because
Yeah.
they use poop. Like they had to close down the bathrooms because I don't know if it was a kid, I don't know what it was, but they had smeared it all over the bathroom.
Stop.
Yeah, so now in her school, bathrooms were shut down, and in order to go to the bathroom, you sign your name, so they know exactly who's coming in and out. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of challenges that our youth are facing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you had this opportunity to discuss though, because
Yeah.
it opens your mind and you're like, holy moly.
Yeah, and it brought me, like, I mean, I knew some of these things. I work with schools, right?
Yeah.
And so I knew some of these things. Others, I was just like blown away. I was like, I had no idea. And so part one is, what are the challenges that we're facing as families, that the youth are facing, things like that. Part two is, all right, what are you doing to bring peace into your children's lives, even though they're amongst the storm? Like, so the way that I phrased it was, every storm has an eye, right? Where the whirlwinds are around them and it's just going crazy. But inside the eye, it's peaceful, it's calm. It's the calmest part of the storm, right? You wouldn't even think you're in the storm. And so the question I asked them is like, it's obvious that our kids are in the storm. They're in the world. Doesn't matter how much you want to protect them. They're going to go out into the real world, and this is happening with them. What are you doing to keep them in the eye, to keep them peace, like personally? So then they talked about some stuff, some strategies. And then part three is, all right, how can you involve the Come Follow Me program to bring calm into their kids from the problems that they're facing in the world?
So in case that you're not aware what Come Follow Me, it's a study guide that we use in our church. It's based on a set of scriptures. Last year we focused on the Bible. This year we're focusing on the Book of Mormon, which is another set of scriptures that we use, which testifies of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's really, really good because it breaks it all down for the whole year. So we have chapters that we read. And then within those chapters, my personal favorite is that it asks questions.
Yeah.
And sometimes you look at the questions and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's personal questions like, how can this impact your life? Or what have you noticed that this has happened in your life?
Yeah. And as a side note, because
A little plug-in.
no, hang on. No.
What?
So I was some guy, a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention any names. He reached out to me and kind of like, I don't want to say,
Kerfuffle, like
Yeah.
ruffled some feathers?
yeah, like
Yeah.
he made some claim that I said certain things in our podcast on Saturday that I'm teaching false doctrine. And we were just going back and forth, like, just like he's asking me all these rough whatever. And I guess in his mind, I don't know what the purpose is, and I don't know what's going on. Great guy, good guy. I love him. He's one of my friends from my childhood, but he was just like, yeah, this is not cool that you're going around teaching false doctrine. And I'm like,
Well, the cool thing about our podcast is that we do invite you to go back to the scriptures.
But
so
hang on.
if we're wrong,
but there's
go ahead.
nothing, but hang on, there's nothing
not,
that we
I
said.
know.
We talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about if you're in trouble, find ways to look for God.
We talked about patterns, how God communicates with people.
How talked about patterns. We talked about how how Nephi was I admire him because every time that he had a challenge, first thing he would do is go to God. We talked about forgiveness.
Yeah.
So how is any of this false doctrine?
But this is the thing, right? It's based on a person's perception. So you find you find what you're looking for, right? So potentially this person was already feeling a little bit off.
Yeah.
They found what they were looking for. I don't know what they kind of attached themselves to, but
he said apparently he said that I claim that Nephi was from the Bible.
is it perhaps because we said at the beginning that they left Jerusalem? Maybe it was from the Jerusalem part, right? And that there was prophets at that time. So it might have been from there.
Maybe.
But we'd never claim Nephi is not from the Bible.
Levi's not from the Bible, right? But anyways, he was like saying some pretty harsh stuff. And then he asked me some questions. I'm like, okay, I'm done answering questions. Let me ask you questions. Like I asked you first. And I'm like, I've been answering you first. And so anyways, at the end, all I said was, listen, I can tell that you're very passionate because this is the guy that didn't live his life very Christ-like while we were in high school. And then like there's this guy and he's like passionate about the Lord.
Yeah.
And so I just highlighted that. I was like, listen, I can tell that you're very passionate about Christ. The last 30 years have been a huge, massive change in your life. I'm proud of you. Good for you. And I'm excited to be engaged in these conversations. We got to keep it doctrinal based.
Is he a member of the church?
No.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
You're coming from, absolutely. I totally understand that.
And so it was cool. So I was able to like calm it down, and then he started talking about like Israel and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you that you met halfway. You met him where he was at rather than like have him try to understand something that.
And if you are looking, dude, I'm not calling you out, so you don't have to identify yourself. But I love you, man. I love you. You were my friend from high school, and
okay. And this is the thing that I want to highlight as well. We can have different perspectives, different beliefs, different things.
Yeah.
We don't all have to be the same to get along.
Yeah.
Like you can believe whatever it is that you want to believe, and we can still get along.
Yeah.
We can still be friends and find common ground.
We're still friends, and even though we like see things on opposite ends.
Exactly. So that's what matters, man.
So.
Yeah. All right, that's a good story, eh?
No. So that's crazy. So we had our first parent council, and I think it went well. And so publicly, I just want to say thank you because you're the one that brought it up.
Yeah.
And so
I love parents. I do. I love parents.
Okay.
I'm like, way to make it weird. I know. Okay, go.
I just love parents.
No, okay. This is the reason why I love parents.
Okay.
I love youth. I love youth a lot.
Yeah.
I work with youth. I'm very passionate about working with youth, empowering them and helping them to see that they have value, that they're meant to be here. And you know what? Like, don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people who are like, oh, your generation's this, your generation's that. No, right? Now, having said that, I also feel like parents play such an imperative role, right? And sometimes I have felt maybe it was just me, my organization, the way that I was leading at first, that we have such a hyper focus on the youth and empowering the youth and everything, that sometimes with the parents, we don't always include the parents. So I wanted to shorten that gap.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why last year, in my youth calling, our whole focus last year was to build a community around parents. Okay. Yeah.
So you know that this parent council thing is, I keep saying parent council, and it isn't. It's teacher council for parents. It's supposed to be done once a quarter.
Yep, okay. I know. So we have our next one coming. We're doing the last one that we had it during Sunday school time, right?
Right.
So the next one coming is actually going to be more of a fireside style, and we're going to host it at my house. It's going to be from 6:30. We're going to do it in February. It's going to be from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And there's this beautiful talk it's been on my mind quite a bit. So I'm thinking that we're going to focus on that. But I'm going to review the document that you said as well to ensure that I am aligned with what it says on there, right?
Yeah, do that. It's very powerful. Like, I mean, I read it through a couple of times, and there's a bunch of links and resources that you can click to and whatever. But again, it's not this whole thing is not a cookie cutter program. Like it's very fluid. but they do emphasize
the 3 things,
try
right?
and hit these 3 things.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do, because last time when we did it, we focused on 3 questions, and it was all related to the talk. It was a talk by one of our general authorities, Elder Utdorf, and he said we can find strength in parenting like Jesus Christ. It was, oh my gosh, it was amazing because of the fact that there was struggles. Like, people talked about struggles that they were having with their kids and how this talk particularly helped with those certain struggles.
Right.
And at the end of it, one of the things that I really enjoyed was a parent from the parent council was like, wow, this was great. I feel like I thought it was only me going through this.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, I love that part. So yes, for sure, I'm going to review that document. And yeah, we're going to do it.
So you're going to do it at your house?
Yeah, this time around, I'm going to do it outside. I know it's a little scary, to tell you the truth. Last time we had an insane turnout because it was during church hours, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that it was the 40 minutes. And because we had so many people,
40 minutes.
Yeah, because it's just after, right? It's 50 minutes. How long was it?
So sacrament is an hour.
Sacrament's an hour. Then you have the 10-minute to get to your class.
Okay.
And then you have 50 minutes, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But there was something that was going on and parents weren't coming right away. So we actually ended up with 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So this time around, we're going to expand it and have a little bit longer. I mean, it's trial and error, right?
Yeah. We had a preliminary.
I know you had it at the house and you didn't have a good turnout.
2 parents.
I know. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, you know what? Let's do it at the house. I'm going to start announcing it from now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a save the date. I suspect that we're not going to have as big of a turnout.
Yeah.
I know when I was talking to our bishop, we were kind of talking about this, and one of the things that he had suggested is like maybe we can alternate houses in order to create more of that cohesiveness and like community feeling. But we're going to try it out and see what happens. I mean, I am thinking that the next one, we will be doing it at the church to provide a variety of having maybe a longer parent council or, yeah, we've been calling them parent councils. And then at the church one, having like a 50-minute guided. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you posted because it's going to be in February. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited.
Did you hear? I don't want to ruffle too many feathers.
Tell me. Are they going to be my feathers?
No.
Okay.
Do you hear what's happening with YLC?
No, because Brampton is not participating, so I don't know what's happening with YLC.
Okay,
so what's happening? Should we discuss it now? We should probably get into our...
No, I think it's all part of it.
So YLC is a youth leadership program that happens for our church. It's really awesome. Like, kids that are 14 to 18 years old get to go, and they spend about a week. It's like 4 to 5 days at a university, and they get workshops, they do activities, they do service projects. I love our church. Honestly, like, our church is the bomb. I personally love our church.
Did you say our church is the bomb?
Yes, I love it so much. You have no idea. The amount of resources that we get, the amount of things that our youth get to participate, the amount of love that we are able to receive and give. I love giving. Like, I hug a million people at church every Sunday. So church is my jam. Okay. So if I can invite you anywhere, you know what? Maybe go check out a church. Churches are good, but our church is, honestly, I love our church so much. Yeah. And by the way, we go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so feel free to check it out. A little plug-in in there. It's
so much bad PR right now. It's like, I hug everybody, so if you come to my church...
Trust me. Hey, I honestly will hug you. If you're not a hugger, though, I do read the room and I feel the tension. And then next time I won't hug you. I'll be like, hey, good to see you. I'll do an arm hug like this. So I can read the room. But sometimes I will wear you down, and then eventually you will become a bit more of a hugger. Anyway, okay, so let's go on.
Yeah. Go. Let's talk about today's thing then.
Okay, so our topic today, which we're really excited about, is staying flexible.
Staying flexible. No, we're not talking about like yoga flexible.
Mobility.
No, we're not talking about flexibility. We're talking about, so again, this is just a small recap. Months and months ago, I did a workshop about certain things that you can do to have a successful startup business, right?
This is actually applicable for life as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So then I did some research and 10 things came up, and we're on number 5 on this thing. And so number 5 is staying flexible. And it says here, be open to adjusting your plans. Flexibility allows you to adapt to unexpected changes and obstacles. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen that happen in your life?
Absolutely.
I got one huge, massive story. I'll let you go first.
No, you go.
Because mine's better.
You go. You have something at the tip of your mind.
I do, and the tip of my mind.
A tip of your mind. Not the tip of your tongue, the tip of your mind.
The years ago, like we're talking about years ago, this is before MTC Life and everything. So remember Palmyra,
Palmyra?
the pageant?
Yes.
So for those who are very unaware, we have in our church, we used to put out a pageant, an outdoor pageant.
It was like a Broadway show kind of thing, but
Yeah.
with a church budget.
Yeah.
Volunteers. But it was really good.
And volunteers. Yeah. And volunteers. But it was very well coordinated. It was
Yeah.
just absolutely phenomenal. It was put outside.
Not a mega church budget. This is just a church budget.
Very small.
Yeah.
Like very, very small. Every position, every whatever, everything was volunteer.
Nothing was paid, yeah.
Nothing was paid. And so, and when we go to see it, you weren't paying to go in to see it. It was open to the public. 14-day event in New York, Palmyra, New York. And so my brother-in-law said, hey, do you want to go sell T-shirts?
Oh yeah, I think I remember
True.
you talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where you're gonna head with this story, but yes, I remember you sharing that.
And so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I didn't know anything about T-shirt making. I didn't know anything about screen printing, nothing like that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So a couple of challenges coming up. Long story short, we get there, we ship our product to the local, because you're not allowed to bring products through the border.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, why don't we just mail it to the mailbox at there and then time it. And so when we arrive, the boxes are there waiting for us.
Yep.
Which is what we did. So anyways, we're selling shirts and all that. No. So we start, and people think, so we have a station, whatever, with all our designs, and people think that we're anti-church members. So we're pushing back against like the Mormons.
And you're like, no, man.
Nobody's coming to our table. Like no one wants to do anything. Like nobody wants anything to do with. In 2 days of 0 sales, like, and we're like this, and we had dropped about over $1,000 just printing these shirts, shipping them there at the campsite, the food. Like we dropped a lot of money and walking away 2 days. And I'm like, something's got to change. And so we went to Walmart. We bought 2 big, huge, massive Bristol boards.
Mm-hmm.
And in my car, I had a huge, massive Mexican hat, like a sombrero.
Okay.
Right? And so I put these billboards and then I would attach it to a string and then I wore it. And then big, huge, massive sombrero and then a guitar. And just
To attract clientele.
just to attract attention.
Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity. Like, what is this all about? And on the back, it would say honk for the Mormons.
Oh my God.
Right? And then on the front, it would say, like, check out our Mormon T-shirts. Right?
Okay.
With an arrow pointing to, like, whatever. And so I'd just be, like, up and down the street. Ay, 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 ay. And just singing and dancing and just, like, doing all these different things. And then people were, like, watching. We walked away making $4,500 American.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, but like the need to adapt and change because you're failing, like it was just.
You didn't just pack up and be like, forget you people.
Yeah, I was like, freak, $1,500 we dropped on this thing, and so yeah, like I was just like, something needs to happen because
Yeah.
everybody keeps thinking that we're antis, and so that's my story to success.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. So I agree with this. Right. So, but I guess my question is, and this is where, I don't want to say I have a problem with this, but just at what point do you adapt, and at what versus sticking to your guns to seeing it through?
I feel like you can still have the same goal and just adapt your approach. But however, sometimes your goal changes as you continue to evolve, right?
Okay.
That's what I feel like. I feel flexibility also requires patience. Patience gives us time to figure out whether this is really a goal that we want.
Okay. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm asking is, okay. So a lot of the times, especially in this podcast, we've talked about like just sticking to it, just pushing through, and through the hard times, the blessings will come, and the success will come, and all this other stuff. So what's the difference between doing that and just be like, you know what, I can't keep doing this. Something's got to change, and then changing.
At what point do you adapt?
So that was my whole thing about staying flexible. Is like, yeah, staying flexible. I agree with 100%. But then we also talk about sticking to your guns and just keep pushing through.
So I have a bit of a different story from you, and I feel like my story does highlight flexibility as well, because
Okay.
when I started my journey, so what you see here today was all started because 8 years ago I decided to work out. In all honesty,
Right.
because I did something different that I would have normally never done.
Okay.
So I started this journey with working out, which introduced me to a company, which is a multi-level marketing company.
Okay.
Right. And because I was introduced to that company, I was able to see something bigger than where I was. Right.
Okay.
I was able to see
They
opportunity.
do that very well.
Yeah, they do.
Multi-level marketing companies.
Absolutely. And I'm personally a fan of multi-level multi-level companies.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because you always make it to the top, but
Yeah.
because of the personal changes that you have.
The
And
mindsets.
exactly. Because of that, I was introduced to personal development. And because I was introduced to personal development, I've started this journey of developing, of figuring out curiosity.
Me too.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So what was your company?
Beachbody.
Mine was Primerica.
Primera. See, it's like for me, I still love Beachbody. I still use their products. I
Yeah.
still like 100% believer. Like I love that company so much for all the changes that it's created in my life, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been positive changes, right? So because I started out like that, I made a lot of mistakes. Like I feel like multi-level marketing is one of those things that sometimes you have to, it's messy. Sometimes you have to grow through, well, all the time you have to grow through it. You make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But if you keep going at it, you kind of see those blessings. Now, again, not always, like in my story, is not that I can tell you like, oh yeah, I built this like insane team and I have like 20,000 people under me and I'm making this killer income. No, that was not my story of success, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it actually worked out that I was a coach. I was running groups. I did meet a lot of wonderful women. I was able to introduce a lot of wonderful women to the products and to the workout plans, and like just developing better mindsets, right?
Yeah.
But I thought when I originally started that I wanted to be like a top coach. I wanted to build this organization. I wanted to do these things. I wanted to create the passive income and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
As I continued to my journey, I realized that, especially as I personally developed myself, I realized that my alignments and my passion started diverting a little bit. So no longer I was running groups. Like I don't run any groups right now.
Are you still in it?
I'm still in it. I love
wow.
it. Like that's not something that I feel like in order for me to like fully quit, it would have to, I don't know where I would reach that phase that I would fully quit. I'm still in it. I still
I
love
had no
it.
idea.
Yeah, I still love it. Like I'm still fully in it. I've been in it for 8 years. I've had friends reach out to me and be like, "Hey, I really want to do what you're doing," and I'll send them the link, and they'll become customers under me, right? And then if they need help or they need guidance, they'll reach out to me, and I'll help them and I guide them. But I'm not an active role within like the coaching aspect of it, right? But absolutely, I'm still in it.
So, hang on. So, are you? So, do you have? Okay, if somebody wants to sign up under you,
Yeah.
and they buy, do you get commissioned off of it?
Yep.
So, but then who becomes their coach?
I would be their coach. This is the thing. I'm not business building. So if they wanted to build an organization, I probably wouldn't be the best coach for them. Do you know what I mean? Because that's not where my focus is at this point in time.
Right.
So, but if you want to become a customer and if you want to use the products, if you want to use the workouts, then for sure I can help you out. I can be there. I can be your go-to person.
Oh.
But because that's not where my focus is.
Okay.
Right now,
so
don't.
So you're more like a sales associate instead of a team builder.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say that myself, right? But originally when I first started, I wanted to be a team builder.
Right.
But then as I continued my journey through this, I became aware of other passions that I had. Like personal development is a huge passion of mine. And
Yeah.
you and I have talked, like I want to create courses. I'm in the midst of like finishing the book that we talked about.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when I started doing all these things, it showed me that I could dream bigger. And so when I started dreaming bigger, real estate became real estate became something that I wanted to do. So I
Yeah.
studied and all that stuff. And then we were able to invest because of that.
Yeah.
So it was all from starting with a decision to work out, which led me to an MLM company, which expanded my view,
Yeah.
where I thought I wanted to be like a business, like build an organization,
Yeah.
which I also had a lot of discouragement through the time. But then as I kept learning and figuring out myself, I realized that that's not where my attention is.
Yeah.
So it was that flexibility of the journey of being like, you know what, is this really what I want? And getting clear with what my values are.
Yeah.
Stephen R. Covey says you need to get clear with what your values are in order for you to make decisions that guide you towards that. It's not really about the end destination, but it's about the direction that you're heading to get you to who you want to be and become.
I highly recommend, and this is gonna like don't come after me and
Go after him.
No, don't come out and don't try and cancel me or whatever. I can't be canceled. I'm not gonna say that. Can you imagine? Well, we'll prove him. No, but I highly recommend for people that don't have a set career, like I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher. Please do that. But for those people who are exploring, I highly recommend join a multi-level marketing company.
It gets a lot of bad rep.
It does get a lot of bad rep. And I want to just tell you something. Something's going to happen when you choose a multi-level marketing company. Now, choose something that you're passionate for, right? So
that aligns with your values.
Exactly. So for Maria, it was health. For me, it was I always wanted to learn investments and savings and all that other stuff. So that's why I joined Primerica. But like I would never join Avon or just Mary Kay. Like that's
Exactly.
That's not me, right?
There are MLMs that I like. So the person who was my coach, she just recently quit, and now she's doing a different multi-level marketing company that's I think it deals with CBD, right? And so like that, I would never jump ship and do that because that doesn't align with who I am.
Exactly.
And this is the great thing about it because I was thinking about the fact that she just kind of like, the organization didn't meet her needs anymore. It didn't align with her values, so she left.
Yeah.
But then I thought, what if all my faith was relying on her?
Right.
I would have left too. I would have been like, oh, there must be something wrong with this company, right?
Yeah.
But my faith is not.
It's the product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. I see the changes that it's done in my life.
Exactly. And so one of two things is going to happen when you join a multi-level marketing company. Because MLM has such a bad rep, they call it network marketing now, right? Yeah. So one of the biggest benefits of network marketing is number one, you get a massive education.
Yeah.
And it to me, and again, I will go toe to toe on anybody else on this. It's equivalent to, if not better, sometimes than any university and any college out there when it comes to business.
Yeah, I agree.
They teach you mindsets. They teach you about failure.
Yeah.
But then here's the thing: is you're not alone when you're failing, right?
You have a community of people that's failing with you.
Absolutely. In a classroom, you're just a number, right? If you fail, if the professor doesn't care, is like, I'm getting paid anyways, either way and whatever, and you're like, you should have studied harder, and then off you go, right? For failing a year. But with this is like when you do fail, you have people there encouraging, be like, listen, it's going to be okay. And then they help you back up and whatever. So number one, you're going to get a massive education when it comes to business and self-development. Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, so one of two things will happen. That's number one. Number two is success, whether it be in the network marketing company or you decide to do something for yourself. That's the one thing, that's the one currency that you get to take with you, which is your education. Yeah. Because I want to tell you right now, I would not be where I am right now if it wasn't for Primerica Financial.
Me too.
MTC Life would not exist. Even because right after Primerica, I worked for like a uniform company. I worked for a construction company, but I took everything that I learned from there into the new sales positions, right? I was good at talking to people. I learned how to sell products. I was into personal development. I was reading all these books. My mindset had changed about success and money and saving, because they also teach you that stuff as well, right?
Exactly.
And then really quickly, I was like, you know what? I wanna do this, but for younger kids, and so for younger audience, and I created MTC Life, but I credit everything to Primerica Financial.
It was like your education, right?
It was a 3.5 year education. I struggled, I cried, I was hurt, I was pained. I had a phenomenal mentor. Sometimes we didn't see eye to eye, but the lessons that he taught me, oh my gosh. And the community that I was a part of. And again, I am where I am because of them. Yeah. So I highly recommend a network company.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
So Bev, what's up, Bev? I'm telling you right now, we have to have Bev. Next podcast.
We're getting Bev in here.
Bev, you're joining us. She says, I think about it. What?
I think it's about
following your gut. If your gut is telling you to change or not, at the end of the day, if it does or doesn't work out, you stay true to who you are. What?
No, that's for how do you know when you're like when you should change? How do you know when it's flexible or you just have to
Oh.
like kind of reset your goals? And I agree with you, Beb. I think within you, you will have that intuition that will be like, I don't know. Especially as soon as something, that's why you need to be clear with who you are.
Yeah.
If at any point, any career goal, any financial goal is taking you away from what the vision of your life is,
Yeah.
then that's not the right way to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, so you know what? It's funny because with Primerica Financial, I remember, and so here's a neat story about this company. When I got approached with this opportunity, I came home and I prayed about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the decision was very, very clear. You need to join this company.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was like, oh, wow. So I came home and I told Tegan about it. I parked in a Canadian Tire parking lot. And so that's why I was like, okay, I got to decide. Came home and I told Tegan, listen, I've been praying about this. This landed on my lap. I got a clear answer that I needed to join. She goes, all right, let's do it. She's always been very supportive, right?
Yeah.
Her and I got into tons of arguments. I got into arguments with my family because some of them didn't want to buy products for me. And I was like, how could you not support me, your brother, right? Or your sibling or your whatever. My faith was starting to go down because I was like, man, why go to church when I can be visiting clients? Literally all of these things, right? So I noticed that I was starting to change. I was still going to church and whatever, and obviously,
But your priorities were kind of shifting.
a lot, right? And then there would be like we would be invited to weddings or games night, or things, whatever. I'm like, I can't. I'm too busy working, and so I was giving everything that I had to this company. 3 years in, I was like, okay, I'm Tegan's like, you've changed, and I'm like, I don't think so. Went back, prayed about it again, and then it was like, you can go now. It's like the reason why you joined this company is now done. You've graduated. You can now move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
And a couple of months later, that's when I quit. But it was one of these things like I just didn't realize why 3 years prior I was told, yeah, join, and then 3 years later it's like you need to quit.
Yeah.
It's because of that, I guess. Priorities change, values change, your goals change, you change, and is it still the same person who you want to be at the end?
Yeah.
Right? And for me, it wasn't.
It gave you a stepping stone into going in the direction that you were going. But at a certain point, it was done.
Yeah.
Like you needed to head a different direction.
Yeah, it went from a stepping stone to a stumbling block.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's and then I noticed that, and I was like, okay, that whatever. So here's my question again then.
Mm-hmm.
When do you know? So she says follow your gut. Some people don't have guts.
So that I think you have to have a clear vision of what you want in life. I think you are only able to align yourself with your goals when you have a clear vision. And when you have a clear vision, you're able to let go of things that are no longer serving you. I know it's harder. I know it seems like a very like.
So for them who don't understand what you're talking about, which I get it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're
Okay.
talking about. But for them, for those.
All right, Miguel, you
children,
ready?
yes.
Listen, you have to know your priorities. What is your priorities? And what are you willing
Are
to
you talking
get?
about your why or your like?
No, you have to know your life priorities. Like for me, my priorities is my faith, my family, my fitness, and then my finances. Everything that I do aligns with those priorities. Right? So my faith,
Okay.
the things that I do, if I'm like, for instance, if any endeavor that I'm taking, I start noticing that is conflicting with my faith, that's going to be something that I have to let go. Right? Now my family, right? What I'm doing, am I ensuring that my family is still like one of the first things there?
Okay.
And then with regards, fitness and finances, they kind of alternate. But in all honesty, I think fitness goes next because if I'm not feeling whole, if I'm not feeling clarity, then I will not be able to make clear decisions that will affect my finances. So you have to have your priorities. You have to know what's important to you. And then every decision that you make, you have to align it with that. Is this serving me to get to where I said that I wanted to go? And only then you can actually be clear and be like, do a pros and cons list and be like, okay, is this serving me? Maybe your pros list is way, way bigger than your cons list, and you realize that your cons are like really small. So you're like, yes, it is hard. This sucks. I'm feeling uncomfortable. Sometimes I cry, but this is the way that I want to go. Or maybe you look at your list and you have like a lot of pros, and then you have a few cons, but those cons conflict with other priorities that you have. Right? Okay. So that's the thing. I feel like in order to know, you have to be in a journey of self-reflection, a journey of personal development. You have to continue to get to know yourself and continue to know if this is serving you.
Okay.
There's no way that you can know when to give up if you're not constantly trying to discover yourself and knowing what you're like and aligning your choices to your priorities. If you're doing it based, like let's say if I set my goals based on what your goals are or trying to be like you, I would be unhappy. Because they wouldn't be allowed. I would legit be unhappy. I think because I am not you, right?
It doesn't matter. If you would give anything to be me for a day.
Oh yeah, I did say.
I didn't say
I would give anything, but I did say if I could be like, if I could experience a day, who would I want? I just want to know. I would free Tegan on that. That's the only reason.
What a horrible friend you are.
Just kidding. So that's my thing. I think in order to know, you gotta do some self-reflection, and you gotta get.
So let me see if I understand this correctly, because I mean, I want to make sure that we're educating the audience here, right? Our children. So what you are saying.
So gross. It looked like you were gonna throw up.
I'm telling you, I'm drinking this thing, and it just went down the wrong way. Okay. So what you're saying is first create or understand your priorities. Mm-hmm. Step one?
I would say step one.
I agree with that. I agree. For me, it's faith, family, business. Mm-hmm. And then I would put personal last out of the four.
See, I would put personal first. I mean, second.
Third.
It would
you
be
said faith, family,
yeah,
and then personal.
But even like with fitness. Family, I would put fitness, yeah, faith. But honestly, okay, go on, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because there's no way that you would put yourself before your family.
In taking care of myself, I would.
We're not talking about self-care. That's a different story.
Okay, in self-care, yes, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Self-care, I would put myself first above anything.
Yes.
Right? Because if I'm in line with myself, and if I feel good, then my family and then everything else.
Okay, so we're not talking self-care. Then yes, it would be faith, family, and then all my other stuff.
Okay, so you would put personal as third.
Personal in what way do you mean personal? That's what I'm not.
Your goal, in this case for you, it's personal goals. For somebody, it might be getting an education, getting like reading a book a day, reading.
See, that one's hard because with that kind of stuff, like personal progress, I would put that second. So I would put finances first. I would put personal progression second. I would put family third, because only as I progress and get to know myself can I show up better for my family.
Where's faith?
First. Faith will always be first.
Okay.
But again, faith, actually, you know what? Faith, it's twofold. Faith in God, number one, and developing that, and then faith in myself and developing that. And so faith in myself comes through personal development. So there you go.
You're so complicated. Hang on one second.
I'm sorry, people. Like, people are just gonna log off and be like, "What the frick was she talking about?" Like,
I'm trying to understand.
Okay.
So hang on, my slowness. I mean, people's slowness. Ready? Here we go. I'm joking. You're not slow. Okay, so here we go. Whatever it is.
Okay.
I think what you're trying to say is figure out your priorities.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
Okay, I can agree with that as well. And then what you're saying is engage in something, and if it's getting you closer to your priorities, then you continue.
Yes.
If it's taking you away from your priorities, then change.
Reassess.
Then reassess.
Yes.
Okay. See how simple that was?
Yes. See, he made it simple. I did a whole lot of like 10-minute talking, and he summarized it in 2 sentences perfectly.
I read this book, and then in this book, it talks about, back in 1964, there was this child that was born. Okay.
I do talk, like, sometimes I do talk like that.
No, it's good. It's good. And you have to understand one thing, and it has nothing to do with you. It's my attention span is of a gnat.
Of a what?
A gnat. A gnat. Do you know what a gnat is?
No, I don't.
It's just like little bugs that they
Oh,
fly
okay.
in swarms,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Do you know? Okay, anyway, like a fly,
Okay.
right? And so I'm my attention. I'm
You're
good.
like flying.
Yeah, I'm good for up to like 2 minutes, maybe even a minute,
And
and
then-
then just my mind starts.
to what?
Yeah, it starts to wander, and then I'm like,
How are we even friends? I guess I talk at you. So I'm talking, and after 1 minute, you're like, her
Oh, yeah.
lips are still moving. What is she saying?
I was thinking about my sauna session today, and then the gym, and what I'm going to work out after this. So that's why halfway through your sentence, I was like,
Where is she? What did she just say? I totally missed the
not
last
even.
5 minutes.
No, not even. I was just like, today is chest day. Yeah, so I'm going to do chest and triceps.
It's all right.
But it has nothing to do with you.
It's all right. You were able to summarize what I said into 2 things, which I think is very accurate.
You know, you know what it is, and this is my deficiency. I'm a storyteller, and I learn through stories. So again, this is my deficiency. It has nothing to do with you. I think you're a phenomenal speaker, but I'm a storyteller, and so if you are not telling a story where my mind can follow, then what happened to the rabbit, right? Like if you're not whatever, then yeah, after about a minute or two, I'm like, I'm creating my own story. And this is horrible because so I'm sitting on the stands as a bishop, right? And I'm listening to people's talk. And if they don't include a story in their talks, I'm not there. And so I have to like
Redirect.
spiritually, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, pay attention, right? And so consciously, I'm always making that effort and whatever. And I go, and I know it's my deficiency, but yeah. And so it happened, a couple of Sundays ago, someone was talking, great talk, phenomenal talk. But I noticed that I kept coming back anytime that they would tell a story. I'm like, oh, and then what happened, right? And then they would go off
You
and
take
talk.
out your popcorn every time there's a story.
Yeah. And I'm a story listener because I'm a storyteller, right?
Yeah. I
So-
love stories too.
Yeah. So you're right, and everything you said was right, and I'll go back and take a look at it and agree with you and stuff like that. And I'll probably watch it in segments, right? And probably 3 minutes.
1 minute,
intervals.
1 minute segments.
Out of the 15, every
Take
3
you
minutes.
45 days to go through this podcast.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But I agree. I think figuring out your priority is number one, and I think we can both agree on it. And then whatever you do after that, it needs to be aligned with your priorities. And whatever it is that you're doing, whatever game plan that you're doing, it will either get you closer to your priorities or pull you away. And then if it
Yes.
pulls you away, that's when your gut kicks in, which is what Bev said, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's something in the scriptures they call it the light of Christ. The world knows it as your conscious mind. And then your gut, your conscious will tell you what you're doing. It's changing you for the worse or changing for the better. It's pulling you away from family or getting you closer to them, and so you can make that decision. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Did you stay with me?
I did. I think I did.
You're so rude. So something interesting happened to you earlier. Well, not earlier, as you were coming here today.
Is it about my son?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we had Mike. If you're watching, this is what happened.
Oh, Mike doesn't know?
No, because he was working downstairs, right?
Oh.
I have 4 children. They're all very different. My first 2 are very calm.
All different husbands.
All different husbands. Just kidding. No, just one husband. Anyway, my last 2 are very passionate, and whenever they get into fights, it's always my last 2, right? So
And the last 2 is the girl Ruby.
Ruby and Joey. So
Joey,
Joey's
yeah.
my third. Joey's my 9-year-old, and Ruby is my 7-year-old. Right?
He's a tank of a kid, man.
He's awesome. He's
Yeah.
like, when he loves hard.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
passionate. He's
Yeah.
like, he's
I
such
love
a
that
ball of
kid.
joy.
Yeah,
I love that kid. I love all my kids. Like
No,
I
I know.
love them all. They're all so different. With Joey, he reminds me very much of my dad as well. My dad was a firecracker, right? And so is Joey. So anyway, he's had some issues before with him and his younger sister are fighting, and then he'll push her or do things to her, right? But then again, my younger one is she's no victim. Let me
Yeah.
tell you this. She's the one instigating. When she
Yeah.
was little, she used to hit them and being like, well, if you didn't see it, it wasn't me, right? Like, this is her at 3 years old. So she's also very spirited, right? So anyway, they begin fighting. It was over a phone in a game. And then Joey gets upset, and then he grabs her and tosses her into the couch, right?
Nice.
And I'm seeing this with my own eyeballs.
Where were you, in the kitchen?
No, I was coming out of the bathroom, so I saw it by my living room. I could see them like arguing.
So Joey didn't see you
No.
manhandling Ruby. Okay.
No, he didn't see me. So
Okay.
he manhandles Ruby. Ruby ends up on the thing. They're still fighting. Ruby's still being mean. It's not like this in any way impacted her. She's still being mean to him. And I was like, guys. And they'll both look at me and I was like, what happened? I'm like, Ruby, I saw you. I saw you being mean to your brother and just taking the phone from him because he was playing a game on it. And she purposefully went and grabbed it when she knew she knew he was coming, right?
Really?
Yes. And then Joey got
right
upset.
now I am so into this because it's storytelling. And then what happened? Who shot who? Did he stab her?
So then Joey is upset because he's dealing with this behavior often, right?
Yeah.
So then he's like, he manhandles her and pushes her. And so then I'm like, I saw it. I saw it with my eyeballs. Like, I literally just saw what happened.
With my eyeball.
Well, I had to ensure. And I'm like, Joey, did you just push your sister? And I'm like, just to remind you, I saw it, right? And he's all standing. He's looking at me and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, Ruby, were you just being mean to your brother? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, for that reason, both of you, no electronics for the day.
Also, it's both of them.
Yeah, both of them get no
Oh,
electronics.
I thought it was just Joey.
No, I'm like, it's also not fair for Joey because Ruby was being mean, right? Yeah. Both of them are mean to each other. So I'm like, both of them need consequences. And I've told them if they get into fights, it's not just the one person that's going to get in trouble. It's both of them, right? So
you know what I do?
What?
That's Levi and Isla.
Yeah.
Like what you're describing right now is Levi and Isla.
Yeah.
What I do is I send them to the room
to work it out.
That they have to. I'm like, I'm gonna give you you have to be there until you're best friends. And like what? And Leo's like, what? She's not. And I'm like, I don't care. You're in there the whole day until when I start hearing laughter, then you can both come out.
How long have they been in there?
Days.
They're still in there.
They're still in there. We had their last birthday in their room because
they just go to school, come back, like they just go to bed, like, you know.
And so, and then afterwards, then I hear them talking, and then I hear them arguing. It's like, well, you started, whatever, and like I let them.
Yeah.
I take out all the weapons from their room,
and then you let them figure it out, right?
Let them figure it out.
Yeah, I'm a believer in that as well. Like I did intercede today because I saw it happen.
Yeah.
Both of them had consequences, and then after Joey started crying because he was really upset, and when he gets upset, he just goes tense like that, and he like hands it a fist. So then I see that. In the past, old me would have gotten upset, being like, what, you're mad? Look at what you did, right? Now, I don't really, like, I have a consequence, and then I feel like my job as a parent is to show you love, even when, like, even when you're going through a consequence, you're being a punk, like, that's my job as your parent, right?
That's cute, though.
What? Oh, that he gets all, like, fist? Yeah, honestly. So then I sit next to him, and I was like, can I give you a hug? So he will often hug me when he's upset.
Yeah.
Jesse, my second, is like, no. Like, he's upset. He does not want to be touched, hugged, or anything, right?
Right.
So with Joey, and he's crying, and I'm holding him, and I was like, you know what, buddy? I'm like, anger is okay. I have no problems with anger. Mm-hmm. I feel like anger is a natural emotion. It's the choices that we make after we're angry that kind of, like, that you will have a consequence. So I told him, I was like, you chose to manhandle your sister. You chose to push her. I'm like, that was a choice that you made because you were upset. Yeah. And this is the consequence that choice has. And then because I had to leave and come here, I was like, while I'm gone, I want you to come up with strategies and things you can do that when you feel those emotions inside, what you're going to do.
Okay.
So anyway, then after that, I left. I'm like, that's like, I think.
So they have no consequences. There's no device for the whole day.
No devices for the whole day. And they know it. So there's no, they can watch it if another sibling is picking something. That's fine. Right? Yeah. But they're not allowed to play games. They're not allowed to pick. No YouTube, no anything for today.
Wow. On a P day too.
Yeah, but I'm like, those are consequences. That's why I don't get upset. They already know the consequences. I follow through with those consequences mostly. Yeah. I mean, I am like, sometimes I do lose my marbles and I do yell. Like I yelled at Ruby this last Friday or because she wasn't doing something that I had asked her and I just snapped and started yelling. But then after I did apologize and as I was apologizing, she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And then she's like, this thing happened at my school where this kid was really upset and he did this and he bit someone. I think the child had bit someone. And then she's like, and then I was talking to him and then I told him if he gets really angry, he should close his eyes and deep breathe for 5 breaths. I love it. I love it when your kid says things that you've said to them. I'm like, yes.
How old is she?
She's 7.
Oh my gosh.
Trust me, your kids are like little versions of you.
Yeah.
Whatever you say to them or whatever behavior they see you at home, that's how they go and act in the world, right? So for me, having little Marias out there, yes.
Oh no. It's like no.
Little Marias, yes.
Let's change this. Let's weed them out.
Free the kids. Just kidding. That's Miguel.
So I knew someone. I'm not gonna mention this person's name because I'm not. They told their dad when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
I want to go walk the dog.
Okay.
This person never walks the dog.
Okay.
And then they're like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." And it's cold outside. And then they're like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to go walk the dog." And they're like, "Okay, so go." And then the mom and the dad was like, "This is weird. Like
Something's going on here.
yeah, something's going on." They never offer. It's a chore to go walk the dog, right? And so they volunteer. So this person starts following this child, right, teenager, like tailing them, keeping at a good distance, and then this kid pulls out a smoke.
Living their best life.
And they just start smoking, right? And so the father makes eye contact with this kid. The kid just kind of like, oh crap, takes it and throws it. And the dad's like, okay. So dad comes back home. This child comes back with the dog. He's like, hey, dad. He goes, so you smoke now? Like, what are you talking about? He goes, so you smoke now? I have no, what are you talking about? He goes, you know that we saw each other, right? We made eye contact. That wasn't me. I was walking the dog. Denied it. Denied everything. I was like, I saw you and I saw you see me. You're smoking. Anyways, it was, so it reminds me of Joey. And
So they'll be like, I saw you with my eyeballs. I made eye contact. Yeah. So
That's
you
the
gotta
line.
remind the kids.
That's the line. I saw you with my eyeballs.
I know.
Not with my nose, not with my ears, but with my eyeballs.
I know.
Yeah.
That is the way.
Alrighty. Awesome. Well, ladies. Oh, what is happening right now? No, that is done.
Okay. I'm like, what's going on here?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying and watching with us. So, Maria, what was your takeaway today?
To speak in less sentences. To summarize, I'm going to think to myself, how can I make this into a 1 minute thing?
No, I'm not saying. Listen, I said it from the beginning. This wasn't a you thing. This is a me thing.
No, but I think I personally, one of my personal goals this year is to be more concise. No, and I know I'm okay with like speaking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there is value in being more concise or starting with a concise statement and then going into it. So that's my goal. That's what I learned. I'm like, I want to perfect that skill. What did you learn?
What did I learn? Nothing. Like, I mean, I knew everything already.
You're like, I don't need this podcast. So.
No, the one thing that I learned, or not even that I learned, it's just the important, or just reminded, is the importance of struggle.
Yes.
And I really like what you did say is have priorities first above anything, and then make your plan.
Yeah.
Then execute your plan. And if at any point in time your plan doesn't align with that one first thing, with your priorities, then don't be afraid to change. Don't change it up. So
Change is flexibility.
Yeah.
It's being okay with being like, okay, maybe this is not what aligned anymore, and then going, right?
Yeah. No,
So
I like that.
stay flexible, people. You are going to be the happiest if you're flexible in your relationships, flexible in how you see the world.
Yeah.
That is a mental strength trait.
I double down on that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, follow us. Make sure you follow us on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, and hit that notification button. So when we do go live, you are the first ones to get notified. Now, listen, we're coming up on our 100th episode.
Dang, 100 episodes. Whoa.
This is huge. It's monumental. I'm thinking, hear me out.
I'm already worried. When it starts that, hear me out. Okay, go.
A destination podcast.
A destination podcast.
And not just you and I, but we bring our loved ones, like our spouses as well. So it's not you and me taking a trip, because that's just weird.
Just weird.
That's just weird. But I'm thinking somewhere not in here, and then we bring like a.
We interview our spouses. What is it like to be married to us?
No, that's not gonna happen. I don't want. No. That is definitely not happening.
I asked Mike that, and he was like, "Is euphoric and exhausting, something like that, or exasperating." I think he said.
Big words. I'm thinking a destination podcast.
Okay.
Somewhere not in this studio, and not only that, but we bring one of our lucky guests with us,
All right, let's talk about that.
like Hawaii or something.
I don't know with what funds we're gonna do this. So buy our stuff, people, so we can do this.
We need sponsors.
All right, thank you for joining. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Get a minute, Dono. Get a minute of your time.
Funny.
Destination.
Get a minute of your
I sure gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time.
Part of the creation, the relations I've got. The only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust.
For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its side. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my
What
eye.
you hear in yourself when no one's to be found. What keeps you eased out? What takes you off your mind? Guess you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, we should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if I tried it. You're the artist in the mess, and happily perform the new in your hands.
I sure gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my sight.